Thank you for plugging into this Family Life News podcast, streaming issues-driven, family-focused news. And welcome back to another edition of Capital Connection. Fridays during the Noon Report, we give you direct connection to what's happening in Albany and Harrisburg with the experts on the issues at the state capitals. They are, as always, Jason McGuire of New Yorkers for Constitutional Freedoms and Michael Geer at the Pennsylvania Family Institute. Jason, this pandemic is hitting during a very important election year. So much at stake in Albany and Washington, yet we've seen virtually no campaigning because of coronavirus. What impact do you think that will have on the balance of power in not just New York, but who the next occupant of the White House is as well?
Well, certainly it seems that the campaigning as it is has moved digital. And so you're seeing different kinds of efforts from candidates, and it's really targeted things that are happening in a digital campaign. So that's probably going to be the year of not only the mail-in votes, but the digital campaign. Certainly, President Trump has the advantage when it comes to the digital campaign, and so I think that will prove well for him. Plus, right now he is controlling the media message through the ability to have the bully pulpit, as it were, speaking to these issues, similar to what Governor Cuomo, who is not up for election this year, is trying to do in our state. And at lower levels, you'll see candidates doing things like even delivering food or helping out in volunteer projects. That, whether we want to admit it or not, is a form of campaigning right now.
Yeah, the mail-in vote seems to be the wave of the future, Michael. Over 1 million, or about 1 million, Pennsylvanians have already mailed in their vote for the June primary. The governor is encouraging them to continue doing this in the COVID era. Is this, I asked Jason this last week, and I'll ask you the same question, is this any way to decide elections, especially important ones like this year?
Well, it raises a lot of questions about how it's done now. This is part of a new law that was passed in Pennsylvania before the COVID crisis. People still have to request ballots, so it's not the mail-in voting that some are proposing now, where ballots are sent to every registered voter.
Okay.
This, you have to request a ballot, but the challenge is that things happen between the time you actually cast your mail-in ballot and Election Day. Issues come out to the fore, or scandals or whatever, and so that raises questions. But at least it's not the kind of widespread fraud that can come in with the proposals that would mail ballots directly to everybody.
As we talk to you guys, we are right on the precipice of opening that door to getting back to normal in both New York and Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has begun the process already. New York will next week. Jason, Cuomo's got a 12-point, phase, 7 criteria formula for unpausing the state. This crisis has caused some to really look at his unfettered power the governor has here to exert his will and authority over the rest of the state. You hardly ever hear from the health secretary, all these daily press conferences. Is there any way to rein in the authority of the governor when it comes to deciding when the state ultimately comes back?
Well, unfortunately, it's going to take a legislature with some backbone, and that's not something that we have seen in New York in recent years. Essentially, the legislature is ceding its authority to the governor, and he is glad to take it. One of the problems is the governor and the legislature know that the governor is going to have to cut the budget significantly. And so the legislature is staying as far away from possible because in an election year, they do not want to be tied to budget cuts.
Yeah.
Thus, they're turning more and more authority over to the governor.
Yeah, that's interesting. Pennsylvania's comeback plan, as we mentioned, Michael, is underway already. 24 counties have gone to red to yellow on that color-coded comeback plan. And I'll ask you the same question when it comes to checks and balances. Governor Wolf accused of acting unilaterally and maybe even unconstitutionally. Some have even, there was a state representative who compared what he's doing to something out of the Nazi Germany era. That garnered a lot of headlines. But does there need to be some reining in of the power of the governor in Pennsylvania?
I think there really does. There's a lot of decisions that are being made unilaterally, done in secret. The legislature is looking to subpoena some records from the governor related to the waivers that were granted to some businesses to remain open, and other businesses did not get them, even though they were in the same line of work and had similar facts. Those are the kinds of things that are done in secret. And then, interestingly, the governor has shut down the Open Records Office. There's supposed to be the ability for citizens or lawmakers or others to request records from the government about decisions that are made that impact them. And the governor has just simply, by fiat, shut down that office. And he says, I'm trying to be transparent, but he really is not.
Interesting. Jason, the former governor of New York, George Pataki, calling for an investigation into the current one. He's not alone. Others in the state have said, hey, we need to look at how the administration has handled coronavirus in nursing homes. What are your thoughts?
Well, I thought it was interesting to see that Governor Pataki came out to make that statement so boldly. He really has not had a lot of those types of statements since he left office.
Yeah.
This is a different situation, though. Frankly, this was a decision made by the Cuomo administration that these residents of nursing homes, they had to take in COVID-19 positive people. They were not practicing what I think are safe procedures. It's worthy of an investigation. It just shouldn't be done by our state attorney general and by Governor Cuomo. There should be an independent investigation that looks at what really happened here and why so many people died under these policies.
Yeah, let's talk about COVID-19 in the church. There was a ruling in Kentucky where a judge seemed to give a split verdict here, and when it comes to gatherings in church. And Michael, your group has put together a wealth of information on your website. We encourage you, if you're a pastor or a church leader, go to your website. Lots of questions about what it's going to look like when we do come back for the church in Pennsylvania. What are some of those questions that you're getting?
Well, the questions that pastors are asking is, when can we open up again? I mean, there are congregants and pastors at churches that want to be open and want to have the opportunity to worship together and fellowship together. The question is, what does the government particularly allow? And interestingly, here in Pennsylvania, the governor and the Secretary of Health have said churches are free to do what they want. We recommend certain things. So the heavy hand of government in terms of threats of legal action have not come against churches, but the guidelines are pretty heavy still. But our Church Ambassador Network, headed by Kurt Weaver on our staff, has been handling lots and lots of calls from pastors to give them some guidance. We even had a call this week with the Pennsylvania Department of Health to give some of that guidance about separation of people, the social distancing that would take place when churches open up, cleaning mechanisms, all of those sorts of things as well.
Yeah, it gives new meaning, that quote, wherever two or three are gathered in my name, stay away, I guess is the new normal there. But Jay, I thought the pastor, Jason, would find that interesting. The Reverend Jason McGuire, we talked about the nursing homes, Jason, and the attention that they're getting, but this group is getting overlooked, and you argue that New York needs to stop socially distancing itself from the developmentally disabled. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, essentially New York has state-run homes for the developmentally disabled, and we're reading reports from both World Magazine and the New York Times that shows that the staff that are working with the residents of these homes aren't even using personal protective equipment, and is putting staff in danger, but it also is spreading COVID-19 among residents. The rate of infection and the death rate is as high in some of these homes as it is in the nursing homes. And so that's a real concern that, once again, the Cuomo administration is overlooking. So we're trying to get some attention on that and get some help for those that are living in these state-run homes.
Yeah, excellent article on your website, Jason. We'll give that at the end. But huge Supreme Court case having to do with Pennsylvania. And this group you've probably heard of before, the Little Sisters of the Poor. The High Court hearing oral arguments remotely this week. Michael, what is at stake here, and why do our listeners need to stay involved with this story?
Well, a couple of things are at stake. Number one is just religious liberty and the sanctity of life. And again, government entity, in this case, the Attorney General of Pennsylvania, trying to force groups like the Little Sisters of the Poor to be complicit in the provision of contraceptive insurance coverage that can include drugs that cause abortions, something that violates their conscience and their religious rights, the First Amendment. The other thing Pennsylvanians need to pay attention is this is Pennsylvania's Attorney General, who is Josh Shapiro, going after the Little Sisters of the Poor. When he announced this lawsuit against the Little Sisters of the Poor and this policy, he did it at a Planned Parenthood abortion clinic. He is as closely tied to Planned Parenthood as our governor, Tom Wolf. And Pennsylvanians who vote need to recognize that their votes for people who support abortion have ramifications, and pay attention to what happens when they go to the voting booth.
And adding insult to injury, this group group doing so much good work on the front lines of this coronavirus pandemic. So praying for a positive outcome there. Folks have questions about the great work going on at New Yorkers, Jason. Where can they find you?
AlbanyUpdate.com.
Stay informed in Pennsylvania as well. Michael, your website, sir?
PAFamily.org.